Hey guys, and welcome to another Platform Vania Engine tutorial. So for this tutorial, I want to talk about how to set up your own character from scratch to be your hero in the game. So in this scene, I just have a box collider, which is a platform labeled on the layers with a sprite renderer on it. And it's an empty scene otherwise. See, if I play it, nothing happens at all. So we want to have a character in here running and jumping around. It's pretty easy to get going. All you have to do for the scene first is you have to make sure that there is a game manager in it. So you just go into the prefabs and you can just click this game manager and drag and drop it into the scene. The game manager handles the object pooling, like particles and sound effects, and it also manages like the players respawning. And it's essential for the engine to work right, because the character controllers work with the game manager to make the game function properly. So now that we have the game manager in it, if we play it, there will be an error because it's like, where's the player? And there's no player, and then there will be a null exception. So we need to make a player. To do that, you can just use any kind of game object. I'm just going to take this sprite for this rectangle character here and get him working. Right now it's just a sprite, doesn't do anything, and we want to make him run and jump and move around. So what we do is we just go to his components and add a character controller script. Instantly we have a bunch of stuff added to the character to give him functionality. To make the character work, though, we need to set up a few things with the stuff that is added. We got a raycasting script, so this handles raycasts, and we have to make sure that the distance is above 0, because otherwise it won't recognize anything, such as when it's hitting the ground or if it's against walls. So we have to let's just set that to 1 for now. The health script, if it's 0, it's dead, so we should probably set it up to over 0. So we'll just make it 100 for now. We have a box collider, which gives it physics and makes it hit stuff and make sure it doesn't pass through walls and stuff. And we have a rigid body, which gives it movement. Then we have the character controller, which we added. And we have a few things we have to set up there first. We have to first designate whether or not it's a player. You can have an AI character, but you shouldn't set it up as player then. You should just leave it unticked. But since this is our player, we're just going to tick that as player. And then it registers as a player in the game. We also need to give it an animator component so that it can register animations. So to do that, I'm just going to add an empty game object as a child of that, and I'll slot in this box animator controller, which is actually just this default animator here, which is a totally empty. There's no animations slotted into the motions field for any of these animations, but we have a bunch of different animations for all the different states set up and ready to go in the controller. So we have whether or not the character's dead, idle animation, running, dangling, falling, pushing, being hit, dashing, ground pounding, etc. All the different states for the character that I've already set up in the scripts have an animation here that you can use. You can also set up your own animator, but since there's a lot of conditions for them to work properly together, I recommend just starting with this default animator here in the prefabs and just hitting the Control D or Command D to duplicate it. And then you can take this, slot it onto your character, and modify it. I just did that, so with this one, this is the same. It's just the default animator. And I'm going to just slot it onto here. And then I'll come on to the character controller script again and just slot that right there. We'll also set the gravity scale here to 10. It's the same as the rigid body one, but it's useful for if you want to change it at runtime. You can just change this script and it'll update the rigid body. And the other stuff is just death parameters, so like how the character dies, when it dies, based on the PV health here. And we don't really need to change anything for that for right now. So if we play the game, it should all work, and the character is now sitting on top of the ground. And again, the ground only works because it's labeled as ground here in the layers. It's named as a platform, and that's what gives it makes it work as a platform. And there we go. So now we want to make the character move, because if we play it, the character doesn't do anything. He just kind of sits on this block here and nothing happens. So if we go to add component, we can add our first ability, which is horizontal movement. And this defines more than just the horizontal movement. It defines how the character moves for its default. So it defines its max speed when it's falling through the air, as well as when it's running. So the way that the horizontal movement script works is that it's based on like a max speed and an acceleration speed. So how fast the character runs, as well as how fast the character can move in general, and it throttles to that max speed. That way, instead of if you have like a add force function being put onto it, it doesn't move past a certain threshold, and thus it maintains a certain velocity. The script actually is based on velocity, not force, but it's similar. So we'll just set the max speed to 50, and we'll set the speed to 10. So that's the running speed is 10, but it can't move past 50. I hope that makes sense. So we'll just play that, and now the character should be able to move around and fall off ledges. Now we're just going to freeze the rotation on the z-axis just to make sure that it doesn't rotate off the edge, though that was pretty funny. So now that we have the horizontal movement, all he can do is move side to side, and that's kind of boring. So we want him to jump as well. If I hit the jump button, nothing happens. So I'm just going to put the PV jump, which is similar to the horizontal movement, except it adds jump functionality. So the jump script has a lot of different parameters that you can tweak here on the component, but mostly we just want to focus on, for now, we just want to focus on this jumps array. Here you can add how many jumps you want, how many consecutive jumps. So let's say we just want 3. We'll actually just keep it at 1 for now. And then we have basically this element that has all of the jump variables on it. So for every jump, you can define that specific jump's velocity, how long the animation plays, and the sound it plays. So you can have different sounds playing for different jumps, different animation times. So like one jump animation plays faster than another, and maybe one jump is a better jump. It's a harder jump. It goes higher than other jumps. So for this first jump, I'll just set it to, say, 100. And there's no animation yet, so I'll just leave that blank. Doesn't matter. And now when the character jumps, there'll be a little jump right there. And if we want to add sound to it, I'll just add a jump sound. And now there'll be a little jump that plays jump sound. And then you can just, if you want to just extend this exact same element and just say you want 3 of those, you can just hit the number right there, and it'll automatically populate an array with the same jump 3 times. So now it's the same thing, but now you can do it 3 times in the air before it resets. But if I hit any more than that, it limits. You can also set how long you want between each jump, so that the jumps aren't conflicting with each other, so you're not jumping over them. That's what the jump animation time variable is. So I'll say 0.3 for in between each jump. So now you can't jump, 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 jump all at once. You have to wait 0.3 seconds in between each jump. So if I hit it, so there, now it automatically waits that long. All right. And that's basically it for setting up your character. It's just a matter of adding the ability here onto the game object for the character and just tweaking the settings to fit your character. You can add so many different abilities. You can add the dash. You can add dodge rolling, grappling, hanging from ledges, all these different stuff. And you can even make your own scripts to add your own functionality as well and make your character exactly what you need for your game. Anyway, I hope that this video was helpful. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments or shoot me an email or whatever, and I'd be happy to help you out. But thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.